Some stars seem destined never to fade, until they stumble in the very light that once crowned them. For Song Joong Ki, My Youth was not just a failed project, it was a cold reminder that even South Korea's so-called rating guarantee could hit rock bottom. After nearly a decade of brilliance, the man who once made all of Asia swoon now faces the deepest crisis of his career. From Captain Hallyu to a painful descent called My Youth. In 2016, Song Joong Ki became Asia's dream man through Descendants of the Sun. His portrayal of Captain Yu Shi-jin, strong yet tender, made him a pan-Asian sensation, with the drama soaring beyond 30% in ratings, a milestone still unmatched by many of his successors. He continued his streak with Vincenzo, 2021, where he transformed into a cold, charismatic mafia consigliere, and Reborn Rich, 2022, another massive hit that cemented his status as JTBC's golden boy. To both audiences and networks, Song Joong Ki meant success. So when he announced his return with My Youth, a melodrama about first love and self-discovery, the media dubbed it the rebirth of a symbol. Yet what was meant to be a rebirth turned into a nosedive. My Youth, beautiful, sad, but a misguided experiment. Unlike the cunning, sharp characters that defined his recent image, My Youth sought to revive the tender, emotional roles of Song Joong Ki's early fame. But the 2025 audience is not the 2016 audience. Korean viewers, now used to fast-paced plots and complex psychology, have grown tired of slow, sentimental dramas. My Youth moved at a meditative pace, relying on nostalgia and inner monologues. The risk didn't pay off. The first episode scored only 2.9%, then 2.8% for episode 2, before plunging to a shocking 1.5%, the lowest of Song Joong Ki's entire career. For a man once celebrated for breaking the 30% barrier, this wasn't just commercial failure, it was an existential blow. The audience has changed, but Song Joong Ki hasn't. Critics pointed to weak scripts and an unlucky Friday night time slot as causes, but the issue runs deeper. Song Joong Ki's public image no longer aligns with the characters he plays. Since marrying and becoming a father, he has exuded maturity and calmness, traits admirable in life, but incompatible with a 20-something romantic lead. The innocence required of his My Youth character clashed with his real-life aura of sophistication. Viewers found it hard to believe in his first love story, the youthful spark simply wasn't there. Moreover, his performance, while technically solid, felt safe and predictable. He was acting well, but without surprise. And in a drama already struggling with pacing and emotional depth, the absence of novelty became fatal. A failure not of talent, but of timing. To be fair, My Youth was not poorly made. It had cinematic visuals, delicate music, and a quiet philosophical tone. The real problem was misalignment, between Song Joong Ki's stage of life and the story he chose to tell. At the peak of his maturity, he took on a role about adolescence and lost innocence, a narrative better suited for rising actors. Perhaps he hoped audiences would see his reflective side, a nostalgic man looking back at his youth. But audiences weren't seeking nostalgia, they wanted evolution. They wanted the thrilling strategist from Vincenzo, the clever heir from Reborn Rich, not a melancholic echo of his past self. Thus, My Youth's downfall wasn't merely about low ratings, it was about disconnection. The beloved image of Song Joong Ki had drifted out of sync with what the audience wanted from him. From glory to crisis, the lesson of a Hallyu star. For more than a decade, Song Joong Ki epitomized the ideal Hallyu actor, handsome, versatile, and intelligent in script selection. His career seemed unstoppable, until now. My Youth marked the first time he had to truly confront failure. Yet, this could be the wake-up call he needs. Great actors aren't defined by their wins, but by how they rise after a fall. The misstep of My Youth might be the necessary pause before reinvention, a chance for Song Joong Ki to embrace roles that mirror his depth, age, and complexity, rather than chasing the shadows of his past. The light that learns from darkness. When My Youth flopped, headlines screamed, "Is Song Joong Ki's era over?" But perhaps the real story isn't about an ending, it's about transformation. The audience doesn't need an invincible Song Joong Ki, they need one who evolves. After all, he remains one of the few Korean actors brave enough to take risks, to fail publicly, and to face criticism with composure. And maybe, this stumble will pave the way for something greater. If Descendants of the Sun was the beginning of the Song Joong Ki legend, then My Youth may well be the prologue to his rebirth, less glamorous, but far more profound. There was a time when Song Joong Ki's name alone could guarantee a television hit. From Descendants of the Sun to Vincenzo and Reborn Rich, he wasn't just an actor, he was a cultural phenomenon, the man who embodied the golden era of Korean dramas. Yet in 2025, the unthinkable has happened, the nation's leading man finds himself in the middle of a crisis. My Youth, his long-awaited comeback, has stumbled so hard that even his most loyal fans are asking, what went wrong? The fall no one saw coming. For nearly a decade, Song Joong Ki's career was defined by triumphs. He dominated Asia with Descendants of the Sun in 2016, turning into an international symbol of the Hallyu wave. His captain Yoo Shijin wasn't just a romantic hero, he became a pop culture blueprint. Then came Vincenzo, 2021, where his transformation into a ruthless lawyer mobster proved his range, and Reborn Rich, 2022, a time travel revenge drama that once again topped JTBC's charts. Every project, every character, reaffirmed the myth of his invincibility. But My Youth shattered that illusion. Despite the heavy expectations surrounding his return to melodrama after 9 years, the series opened with just 2.9% in ratings and soon fell to a shocking 1.5%, the lowest in his career. For a man who once broke the 30% barrier, the fall feels almost poetic in its irony. When stardom stops protecting you. The truth is, My Youth was supposed to be a safe bet, a heartfelt story about first love, memory, and the search for self. JTBC marketed it as a mature, emotional drama, Descendants of the Sun, but grown up. Yet viewers didn't respond. The timing was wrong, the storytelling too gentle, and the tone too nostalgic for a generation that now craves thrillers, mystery, and psychological realism. But the problem runs deeper than genre or pacing. Audiences weren't just rejecting My Youth, they were quietly questioning whether Song Joong Ki himself still fits the image he built years ago. Since becoming a husband and father, his real-life maturity has inevitably colored the way people see him. His calm demeanor, once a strength, now feels too composed for the youthful vulnerability that My Youth demands. The role of a wide-eyed 20-something in love no longer aligns with the man the world knows today. It's not a matter of skill, he remains a refined actor, but of believability. In short, Song Joong Ki didn't fail because he lost talent, he failed because he lost the illusion of youth that his story tried to sell. A crisis, or a turning point? It's tempting to call this moment a downfall, but perhaps it's more of a reckoning. Every star, no matter how bright, eventually reaches a point where reinvention becomes essential. For Song Joong Ki, My Youth might mark the end of his romantic hero chapter, and the beginning of something far more interesting. His future roles could embrace complexity, men shaped by regret, morality, or power, characters that mirror the emotional intelligence he has gained off-screen. The Korean entertainment industry has evolved, and so have its audiences. They no longer want perfection, they crave authenticity. And authenticity, ironically, often begins with failure.